think I have unmuted myself today. Brilliant. Welcome, guys, to the pre-market overview. Today is Thursday, July 2nd. Happy Thursday to you all. Hope you're having a good week in the market so far. Obviously, today we're going to go into what we think is going to happen on 4 of the major markets. We do that by covering our newsletter, or for the information that's on our newsletter. So if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter and you want to have a look at that document yourself, which is the one I'm going to go through today, then you can email us newsletter@tradewithufos and we'll put you on that subscription. You'll get it every day. So that's what I'm going to go into today. Before I get into things, just a couple of reminders. Firstly, you can email me if you want. My name's Becky. You can get me at becky@tradewithufos.com. Always better to email the support team if you have any questions on technology, classes, the channel, the way we see the markets, whatever it is. Email us support@tradewithufos.com and we'll get back to you there. I'm just going to read the disclaimers. Whilst I do so, you can check out the upcoming dates that we have. So I'll do the courses first. So we've got psychology is the next one coming up. So underrated in terms of you know, the importance that psychology has on our trading. So if you haven't done anything on trading psychology yet, I would highly recommend that. And then obviously we can see the upcoming classes past that. So back testing futures, stocks and trading plans. Like I said, psychology is the first one coming up. You've got the dates there. Obviously today being a Thursday, we have stocks and investing. So stocks in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, and investing in the afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern. And again, you can see, if I just get rid of all these arrows to make it a bit clearer, you can see that we have sharpening sessions, Saturdays and Sundays. Again, one of those is the psychology session, so very important. Another one of those is reviewing methodology. And you can see when we have the other sort of asset classes as well, futures and options. Okay, I'm going to read the disclaimers and then we'll crack on. So the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradewitufos provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating method of using the product. And users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstrating and are not recommendations. Active options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. Past historical trading performance of real or simulated trading does not guarantee success and may not be indicative of future results. You Can Trade is an online media publication service which provides educational investment content and ideas along with live trading demonstration and does not provide investment or trading advice, research or recommendations of any kind. Please visit www.youcantrade.com for additional disclosure information. That was me trying to do that quickly and obviously tripped over my words there. Okay, right, let's get on to the newsletter. So let's open that up. Let me just zoom in a little bit, make it a bit bigger for you guys if you want a phone or something. Okay, so this is the newsletter that we go through. It's sent out every day. And as you'll see, as part of the newsletter, what we go through are 4 of the major markets in the world. We've covered the S&P, one of the major indices of the world, obviously with reference to equities. We have oil and gold, both commodities, obviously one in the form of energy, one in the form of metal. And the euro, one of the biggest currencies in the world. For the euro, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar. It's the highest traded currency pair in the world, and the US dollar itself is responsible for 80% of transactions that happen worldwide every single day. So I think it's fair to say that we've covered quite a lot of what will go on in the markets. And even if you don't trade those markets directly, what you trade will probably be correlated to them. So you get a good general idea of what's going on out there in the markets on a daily basis. So as we said, daily basis, we are looking at a daily time frame for each of these markets. Obviously, of course, if you're looking at different timeframes, things might be slightly different, but the ones we're going to focus on during the overview and in the newsletter are the daily timeframe. Now, for each of the markets that we look at, we're going to go into climate, which means the general direction that that market is going in. So another word for that might be trend or environment. Basically, in general, are we moving upwards? Are we moving downwards? Or are we undecided? Propagating tells us what the statistics are for averagely how long a market moves in that particular direction. So it gives us statistics and probabilities as to how long we're likely to be going in a particular direction for, which again gives us the information that we need to put odds in our favor when it comes to our executing our trades. We're also going to look at the nearest UFOs. So UFO stands for unfilled orders. And what we mean by that is where we think that there are a big stack of buy orders that could push price up if price were to get there, or a big stack of sell orders that could push price down if price were to get there. Again, we're going to be using technology for all of these. So we're using the Auto Climate app to help us with the climate and the propagating, and we're using the Auto UFO apps to help us find these unfilled orders on the chart. Also, for each market, we're going to go into volatility, which is how fast we expect these markets to move. So I'll go into them one by one. We'll start with the S&P, and the symbol that we're using for the S&P is the SPX.X. So let's get that up on a chart. Here we go. So let's start with the climate. We can see at the bottom here, this is our Auto Climate app, and we have a blue thick dot. Now, being blue, the Auto Climate app is telling us that we are in a movement to the upside. We are in an upwards climate or upwards trend. Being thick, it means that it is a confirmed climate, which means we have more probability that this climate would work in our favor if we were to get into a trade that followed it. Now, in terms of UFOs, which is where we expect there to be orders that could turn price, we have a buy UFO just here. This is the green one just here. It's 2955.45 to 2933.59. Sell UFO just here, and it looks like, you might not be able to see that very well. Hold up. Just there, we've actually already touched it, and it looks like we've already reacted to it a little bit. Be interesting to see what happens there. The numbers for that are 3131.29 to 3154.90. Again, sell UFOs are where we expect there to be a big stack of sell orders that could turn price back down when price reaches it. Like I said, we've literally just touched it. Okay, so we saw that we were in a confirmed up climate. In fact, you can see on this newsletter here, all of our markets today are in a confirmed upwards climate. So we can see that by the green arrow that's pointing upwards. If they were unconfirmed climates, you'd have a little cross on there. No crosses today, so again, all confirmed upwards climate. Now, we saw we're in an upwards climate, but let's understand how far that's likely to go for. So what the propagating figures tell us is how often that market normally goes in that same direction in terms of the amount of candles. I'm going to round up all of the numbers on the right hand side, because obviously going part way into a candle on a daily chart, that's still, you know, a day. So I'm going to round all of them up. So even if it looks like they're a low number, I am just going to round it up. So what we can see by that is that the S&P normally goes up for 11 candles. Okay, so rounding that up. 11 candles on a daily chart, so 11 days. And we are on candle number 1, which tells us that based on probabilities and statistics, we have odds in our favor that if we were to get into a trade that followed that climate, we have more likelihood that that climate continues for another 10 or so candles. And again, we have a confirmed upwards climate. However, we just hit a sell UFO, which is where we expect prices to turn. So again, it would be interesting to see which of those forces sort of play out and which of those forces win when it comes to what happens today or in the next few days. Now, staying on the S&P, let's come down to volatility. So basically, volatility means how far we expect price to move within given periods of time. We get the numbers from the options of these markets. So for those that are unfamiliar with options, options are mainly traded by professional traders, especially in these big markets. Now, with options, there's a risk of exercise or assignment. So when the professional traders that are buying and selling options and therefore setting the price of them, when they're doing that, obviously what they have in mind is the relative risk that's linked to that. Now, the risk that's linked to that is directly dependent on how fast these markets move. So basically, the numbers that we have for implied volatility come from what professional traders think will happen in the markets. It's their opinion as to volatility and how fast these markets will move. So you could say it's a sort of consensus, I guess, of on professional options traders' opinion on movement. Now, everything when it comes to implied volatility is done on an annual basis. So if we take the S&P to start with, we've got the VIX here. That's the symbol that we use, VIX.X. This number here under current implied volatility is an annualized number. So what this means is we would expect a movement on the S&P based on what professional option traders think. We would expect a movement on the S&P every year or in 1 year of up or down 27.98%. So we would expect it to move 27.98% up or down within the year. So we can then reverse engineer that to understand what that means on smaller time frame. So within a day, we would expect a movement of 54.92 points within 1 day, either up or down. In a week, we would expect a movement either up or down of 120.90 points. And in 1 month, we would expect a movement either up or down of 251.67 points. So again, from these figures, we can see how fast price is likely to move or how far it's likely to move in these given time periods. The climate gives us an idea as to in what direction, and the UFOs give us an idea as to when that might change and change direction. Okay, so that's the S&P. Let's move on to oil. So the symbol we're using for oil is at CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil. So let's take a look. CL. Okay, I'm just going to unsquish this a little bit, just because we've got a couple of UFOs nestled together there. There we go. All right, great. So we have down here, once again, a thick blue dot, which tells us we are in a confirmed upwards climate. Again, we've got more probabilities on our side if it's a confirmed climate, and we know it's confirmed because it's a thick dot instead of a thin dot, and we know it's up because it's a blue dot. And that's what the app is telling us. The Auto UFO app has found this UFO for us here, which is 25.87 to 25.36. That's the closest buy UFO, where we would expect there to be buy orders that would push price back up. Closest sell UFO is up here, 53.39 to 55.27. Again, that's where we expect there to be sell orders that could push price back down. And as we can see, we're pretty much bang in the middle of that. So again, no real forces in terms of UFOs pushing us really today. There's not much really going on there, but we are in a confirmed upwards climate. Okay. So when it comes to climate, let's just understand how far we would expect this to go. So again, we can see from these numbers that oil normally goes up for 7 candles. Again, I've rounded that up. So 7 candles on a daily chart, and we are on candle number 3. So we're not even halfway into what the normal move would be in that particular direction. So again, we've got probabilities on our side from a thick dot, confirmed climate, and we have probability that this climate could continue for another few days. Again, not always the case. These are all probability, statistics, technology. It's not to say it happens 100% of the time. We'll see when we come down to gold in a minute that sometimes things go outside of the norm or outside of the average or outside of the probabilities, but it's just all about putting as many odds in our favor as we can. Okay, so let's just come down to understand volatility on oil. So for the volatility, that's the symbol that we use. We can see that we would expect a movement in 1 year up or down of 53.43%, which means we would expect a movement in 1 day up or down of 1.35 points, a movement in 1 week up or down of 2.97 points, and a movement in 1 month up or down of 6.19 points. Okay, so let's just go back up here and we'll go to the next one, which is gold. So once again, we're using the continuous futures contract. It's at GC. That's the chart we're going to be looking at. So let's have a look at GC. Move that over here. I don't know why it was all over there. And I'm just going to unsquidge it a little bit just so we can see a little bit bigger. Okay, so once again, you'll see we have a thick blue dot. So we're in a confirmed up climate again. In terms of buy UFOs, we have this one here, 1668.3 to 1647.0. That's where we would expect there to be orders that would turn price back up, and we can see that's actually already happened. It's already done what we would expect it to do. It's hit a stack of buy orders identified by the app, and that's pushed price back up. Now it's still on the chart, so still potentially a valid UFO. Then we have our closest sell UFO up here, 1863.6 to 1879.0. That's the closest sell UFO that we would expect price to hit and come back down if it were to reach it. Okay, so let's go back to the newsletter and understand our propagating figures. Like I said, sometimes things happen outside of the norm, and we can see that here on gold. So normally gold would go up for 6 candles on a daily chart, so 6 days, and we are on candle number 17. So if my maths are right, I think that's nearly 3 times as long as what is normal, 3 times overextended. Now, that's not to say that it won't keep going. As we saw, we don't have any cell UFOs close by. So potentially it could keep going and keep breaking that number. But the longer it goes on for, the lower the probability, because we're already way extended as to what is normal on this market. So again, be interesting to see what happens there in terms of how we fit with the statistics and the probabilities. So confirmed upwards climate, overextended. I think we're about 3/4 of the way there on the way to the cell UFO. So let's come down to gold, and for the implied volatility figures for gold, we look at GVZ.X or GVZ.X. Current implied volatility for the year is 18.85%. So 18.85%. So that would be the movement we would expect up or down on gold within the year, which means we would expect a daily movement either up or down of 21.2 points. In 1 week, we would expect a movement either up or down of 46.6 points. And on a monthly, we would expect a movement either up or down of 97.1 points in 1 month. Right, last but not least, let's go to the euro. As I said before, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar, which is the spot forex market. So let's go back here and have a look, euro USD. Okay, once again, I'm just going to move this so that we can see the UFOs we need to see. Make it a bit bigger if I can. There we go. Okay. So once again, as we saw in every other market today, we have a thick blue dot. So we have a confirmed upwards climate once again. In terms of buy UFOs, we have this one right here, 1.1168 to 1.1070. Just rounded those fifth decimal places there to the pips that they need to be rounded to. And again, as we can see, multiple times we've got here, and I think 3 or 4 times in there, we've hit this buy UFO and gone up again, and hit the buy UFO and gone up again, which is what we expect from unfilled orders that are sat waiting. Now, what we can also see is our sell UFO up here at 117.40 to 118.16. Again, I've just rounded that to where it needs to be. That's the closest sell UFO, quite a way off there. Okay, let's look back at the newsletter. So with the euro US dollar, like we said before, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Propagating figures, what we can see from this is that normally the euro versus the US dollar would go up for about 4 days, and we're on candle number 1, which again means that we have probabilities on our side that if we were to get into a trade that followed climate, that it would continue for another few days. Again, not always, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but we do have a confirmed upwards climate. We do have probabilities on our side from propagating, and we have just hit a buy UFO. Although, obviously, sometimes new UFOs can come into the market, new orders can come into the market and change what we expect. Again, it's all about putting odds in our favor as much as we can. So having a look down here, in terms of volatility, what's the movement we would expect on this market? We're looking at EVZ.X or EVZ.X. Annualized number, what am I doing? Here we are. Annualized number, 7.27%. That's what we would expect in terms of a movement in 1 year, which means a movement of 52 pips either up or down in 1 day on the euro, 114 pips either up or down in 1 week, or 237 pips either up or down in 1 month. So again, these just give you an idea of how fast we would expect these markets to move. Climate and propagating gives us an idea of in what direction and for how long based on probabilities, and UFOs give us an idea of where price is likely to turn if it hits it. Okay. So a couple more things to do before we round off. So in terms of news, which is obviously indirect forces that could impact the markets, the direct forces that impact the markets are always orders, okay? Buy and sell orders, that's what moves price. But obviously news and reports can have an impact on those orders. So it's an indirect force into the market. So we've just got a snapshot here of this week. So obviously Tuesday and Wednesday has already been. The last thing to come out this week is obviously going to be today, Thursday the 2nd. Now, I have filtered this by high impact news and filtered it by US markets. So if you do something different, then you can go to that link there, fxstreet.com/economic-calendar, play about with the filters there to make it fit your trade plan a little bit better. You'll see as well, if the figures have come out, they will be in this column. So under the actual column, you'll see here, figures from yesterday will show. If they don't have the figures, then they don't appear. So obviously nothing's showing there for Tuesday, and obviously nothing yet for today because it hasn't happened yet. You'll see on the left-hand side, this is where we see the times that this information comes out. So we have 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We've got non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings. So potentially we'll see a lot of movement in the markets today based on that movement, based on that news. But again, we'll see. Okay, so a couple of reminders before we round off. If you're not already part of the group, part of the subscription, being able to access our videos, our content every day, then you can join at www.tradictive.com/you-can-trade. Now, of course, you might be unsure about if you want to, or if it suits you, or if it's going to fit with your trade plan or something. So if you want to, you can try us out for 14 days for free so that you can see, first of all, whether or not it makes sense to you. Then in terms of courses, The next one, as we said, is the psychology course. Psychology, again, very, very important and often overlooked. So you can learn more about what's in the course and the instructor and how it all works, dates and things like that at www.tradictive.com/psychology live. And we do still have the offer on that if you register for any course, you can choose an additional course for free. So it has to be of equal or lesser value. So if you can go to the website and you can sort of play about with which ones make most sense for you in terms of getting the best from that offer and in terms of obviously what makes the most sense for you to learn. Okay, so that's me done for today. Obviously being a Thursday, we've got stocks and investing on today. So I hope you guys enjoy those sessions. At 4:15 p.m. Eastern, I believe it's my colleague Wayne, it might be Boyan, not sure. I think it might be Wayne, that will be going over what did happen in the markets today, what went as expected, what the movement was, and sort of correlate it against what we went over this morning. If you have any questions, as per normal, just email us, support@tradictive.com. Hopefully we'll see you in some of the sessions today. If not, I'll be back tomorrow, so I'll see you then. Have a good day in the markets, guys, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Take care.